the president nominates, and in order for them, the nominees to get approved, you have to have a minimum 51 votes from senators, correct?
You do, but it's actually just an advised consent. So they shouldn't really stop. I mean, the president has the right to pick the cabinet of his choice, and
without the help of Senate.
Well, they have to have the help. But it's an advise and consent role. Like they ask the questions, but they should consent to allowing the president to have whatever cabinet members he wants.
So you want to tell me that in 2021, Rachel Levine, Sam Brinton got more than 50 votes from the Senate?
No, it should be advise and consent. It should be, is what I'm saying.
But those people weren't.
They weren't. So
they didn't get more than 50 senators' votes.
Yes, you're correct.
And they were approved.
So it should be an advise and consent role. So like if you come and say, treat it like a marriage, right? You go to your parents, you say, hey, I love this woman, I'm going to marry her. And your parents are like, oh, that's great. Can we meet her? Can we talk to her? And they shouldn't be able to tell you. I mean, they can tell you no, but they shouldn't tell you no because it's your choice of who, so the president of the United States should have a choice of who he's surrounding himself in leadership, and who he chooses should be affirmed. There are times when both parties won't affirm the president's choice for those cabinet positions. But if you look at the language, it's an advise and consent role. It's not a stop and block role. It's an advise and consent role.
So what happens, for instance, if the Senate does not approve Bobby Kennedy?
That's going to be very disappointing.
So he still is going to be the head of HHS?
I think that they can do certain things for that. They can put him, I don't know. So I actually work in the state government and not the federal government. Correct. So I don't have all the rules in the top of my head. But I would hope, and I think that we're not going to have a problem there. I think it's going to be a tight vote. We've already had the vice president step in and cast the final vote for another individual that the cabinet that President Trump picked. And if Bobby Kennedy is that tight, I'm sure the vice president will step in again and make sure he gets confirmed.
Because there are a lot of rumors that Kennedy and Tulsi, maybe even Kash Patel, are not going to be confirmed. But at the same time, Rachel Levine was confirmed.
Exactly.
Sam Brinton, really? Yes. Head of the nuclear waste?
Yes.
Really?
And they're really worried about, the other side is really worried about who we're picking, or the president has picked for these positions, but yet they confirmed individuals who steal luggage, who dress in women's clothing, who, and Rachel Levine running this, United States military. Pete Hegseth is by far going to make sure that we're a war-fighting machine is what the military is supposed to do. The military is not a DEI organization. The military is not like everybody belongs. The military is the fighting machine that protects this country and keeps us all safe and brings balance and safety and security to the world.
So once President Trump was sworn in, he got to sign a lot of executive orders, right?
Like 100 or something in one day.
Yes.
Yeah, in the arena, I think he was signing it, and they would call it off, and he'd flip it over, and he'd sign it, and call it off, and flip it over. There were hundreds.
But executive order is not a law.
It's not a law. It's an executive order. It's a will and consent of the president, and he can do it until it's challenged in court, until he's told to stop, if that makes sense. Also,
he signs an executive order, and if the judges are okay with that, so it becomes kind of a law.
It's not just the judges. It's that, so say he's like right now, a couple of days ago, he signed the no men in women's sports,
correct,
which is something I completely support. So he did an executive order. It is not law, but there will be lawsuits challenging that executive order. And if the courts side on behalf of the people who filed the lawsuit or the president, then it's kind of decided that way. But with all the momentum that's going on, the Congress can still go through and solidify that into code. The Congress can pass a piece of legislation that solidifies that executive order.